Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. I am excited to be kicking off this series on hemp and our greatest levels of health and wellness, learning all about the endocannabinoid system and ways that nourishing that system with the hemp plant can all help us reach a higher quality of life. I'm here tonight with Dr. LeTa Jusila. She is a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine out of Santa Cruz. She is a wise woman and an incredible physician and healer, and we're so blessed to have her as part of the medical advisory board with a company that many of us are affiliated with called Prime My Body, that is all about bringing hemp and plant-based wellness to people. So LeTa is going to share some slides with us, and we are going to have fun tonight. February is the month of love, in whatever that means to each of us. And so we have a lot of amazing pathways to wellness that we want to share with you. But we want to feature our nitric oxide and CBD powder that we have because it helps us with circulation. It helps us with intimacy, whether we are by ourselves or with others. It helps us with longevity, so many things. So we are going to touch on different things tonight with you, but we are definitely going to have our focus be on our core. Awesome. Our mission at Prime My Body is that we celebrate and empower a global family to elevate health, prosperity, and freedom for all. So we are really here to weave that web with each other around the planet. With the magical plant of hemp that has been used in ancient cultures like traditional Chinese medicine, like traditional Ayurvedic medicine for thousands upon thousands of years. LeTa, I'm going to pass the next one to you.
I love it. Thanks, Dara. Glad everyone's here. So, you know, the reason we're here is because so many people are dealing with stressors, right? And it goes without saying, not even just with the last couple years in current events. This is just the time we're living in. But how your body processes stress and how you're naming the incoming information, right? News or whatever it is, news from a phone call or, you know, there is stress, but your body, you know, what we're trying to do here is realize and remind you that there's so much power in the body to recalibrate. And if you're willing to be a full participant in taking responsibility over your health and saying, you know, I don't want my body to respond like this anymore, then there's this timeline before you can be, you know, just doing Qigong all day or just meditating and breath work. There's this intermittent timeline where you need herbal medicine, you need nutraceuticals, you need supplemental support to help the body as you start recalibrating how you're responding to these stressors. And we're here today to talk about, you know, really simply, this is what's going on with most of the people that we know. And what can we do about it? Because we live in a time where we are all interested in taking charge for ourselves, which is taking charge of our health, taking in charge of, you know, our relationships, our careers. And I mean, you see this mass exodus of people leaving their jobs. People are unhappy. They are taking matters into their own hands, especially with careers and jobs. They're not relying on the government to take care of them. And this is the topic we're talking about today, which is how can you be a participant and an ally for people that you care about and love, that, you know, you can take care of yourself. And that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about self-empowerment through things that you need. Okay. And one of the things, you know, I was telling a patient yesterday is you make cannabinoids in the body, okay, in the brain. You make CoQ10, you make nitric oxide. But some people are not making these things. Hence, you're going to want to replenish and supplement the body. Okay. And we're talking about, you know, one of those things, the cannabinoids, I'm talking about replacing with the power of hemp. Okay. And so a lot of what we're talking about here is replacing things that your body is supposed to be making on its own, but might not be for a lot of different reasons: toxicity, stress, chronic disease, alcohol, you know. So what we're trying to encompass with these series of conversations that Dara and I are having is, you know, we're not talking about something outside of you that you need. We're talking about things that you make in your body that's innate. Okay. And that's the power of what we're really talking about today. Really exciting. Dara?
Thanks, LeTa. I love that. And, just to give an example, I didn't introduce myself. I have a background as a home birth midwife and a massage therapist doing different things, craniosacral, deep tissue, my abdominal, Arvigo work, and about to be trained in John Barnes myofascial release in the next month, like many of our incredible practitioners that are on this call. But, for example, for myself, I've looked at my organic acid labs. I've looked at my 23andMe genetics and kind of put them together. So myself, for example, I'm someone who, I have the MTHFR mutation. So my body struggles to detoxify. And on top of that, I don't make glutathione very well at all. And glutathione is the master antioxidant that helps us to detoxify. So I really struggle to get toxins out of my body, which makes sense considering my health picture. I'm not going into that, but just as an example, with those being my challenges, I know my body is not making these things. So I'm going to take, for me, NAC, which I get online and through my doctor. That's a supplement that is the precursor to glutathione. So how can I help my body? Well, I'm not producing this, so I'm going to take NAC for the rest of my life. I'd rather take a precursor to something. So that's what we're doing here, is we're feeding the body with the plants that have the key to lock these doors of our endocannabinoid system. And so as we start to do that, we stimulate our body to start producing its own cannabinoids from within these endocannabinoids. And so whatever we can do with whatever processes in the body are not optimally functioning, we're turning on these receptors and reminding our body to start producing more. And so this is such a gift to give to our bodies. And it's what we're going to go into with the nitric oxide as well, right? We are all about regeneration. We can either be regenerating or degenerating in every moment of every day. And so how much can we regenerate our bodies? And what we saw with brain scans that were done using our focus extract, which is high in CBG, which is neuroprotective, neuroregenerative, is that professional football players who have had so much head trauma, right? Unbelievable amounts of head trauma. We saw their brain scans shift within 30 minutes to the point where the doctors were like, are you sure this is the same brain, right? Seeing various medical conditions. So I'm not going to make any medical claims that anything here can heal, treat, cure, prevent any illness or disease. We absolutely don't make any medical claims of that type. If Dr. LeTa makes some, she's a doctor, so she's in a different category. But what we see as we start to feed the system is everything starts to change. And so this was such a phenomenal study. It is being fleshed out and will be published in the medical journal, where it can be shared more fully. But there is a Forbes article that was written about us, because this is so remarkable to have the science, to have the brain scans behind a CBG cannabinoid product, is really, I think, unprecedented in the marketplace.
Yeah, it really is. And if you want specifics, because everybody's different, under an hour, these gentlemen who, have never had CBG, much less CBD, they had an 87 to 90% improvement in the brain. Okay, under an hour with CBG. So really, really incredible. Yeah, you can absolutely take a look at, we have the brain scans and we have, all the data for, for people that love that kind of proof. But the bottom line is that we have, we're a company that is backed by science. We like to know what it's doing, who it's good for. This is super important. And I'll start there, since I'm already talking, and I'll pass it to you. But, if you don't realize, you do have this, what we call an endocannabinoid system. And again, there are things you can Google online. Absolutely. But when I opened up this call, I mentioned that you make cannabinoids. You actually make two in the body. You make 2-arachidonoglycerol and you make anandamide. And very simply, we call these the bliss molecule and the motivation molecule. So I always say to people, well, if you're not feeling great and you're not motivated to give your gifts, then you're probably not making them, and you might want to supplement. And again, this ability that when people have a cannabinoid deficiency, it really shows up. Most people I see when I test they have a cannabinoid deficiency. But thank God we have the power of hemp and power of cannabis, and we can take these cannabinoids, replenish the brain, resuscitate it, get it to start working better and optimally, because life's too short to not be feeling great. And I don't want to go into too much details because I'm excited to talk about core and heart health. But Dara, pass it to you. Is there anything else you want to say about the master switch?
Something was there and then, I left, but my brain fog, my post-Rona brain fog is so insane. So I'm going to be letting LeTa do most of this. But go ahead. You just covered everything. It's perfect.
All right. Well, if you know that you want to supplement your life and your brain with this nutritional food for your brain, we have 3 tinctures that I love. They're for very different reasons, different cannabinoids, different terpenes, different herbal medicines in there. So we have Focus, which you can imagine, it's a daytime formula. Calm is when you have an overactive brain energy, brain activity, you want to calm things down, good for sleep. But honestly, it's not a sedative. So it just brings that overactive brain activity down. And then Shield to me is one of the most profound tinctures of our time. No one has anything remotely like it. Not only CBG, 3 amazing terpenes, 7 Western herbs, 6 Chinese herbs, with just well-rounded formula to combat any sort of aspect of exterior pathogen. So really profound. We were just going to run through, we want to share with you very briefly just the product line before we go into the heart health. So Dara, you want to talk about this?
Sure. So CBD, what I was going to say about the endocannabinoid system, I'm going back for a second, was that if you go ahead and you Google CBD and any number of different medical conditions, you will literally, like on PubMed or on some of the different resource lists, you'll see that CBD has been noted to support over 250 different medical conditions in the body. So it is like the ultimate adaptogen that is going to regulate your nervous system, your immune system, all these different things. And so the skin is our largest organ. And so what we see with CBD and the skin is phenomenal. So we have 2 different products that I use every single day. I use the ones that LeTa just showed in the prior slide every single day. The Hydrate Pure is a really rich moisturizer that has CBD in it. The Nox is actually nitric oxide with the CBD. And so put that on first. It's a serum. You mix it together, it goes on, and the nitric oxide goes in and brings all the blood and all the nutrition up to the skin, and the CBD mixes with it. It's incredible for sunspots, fine lines, supporting wrinkles. It's like people call it microdermabrasion in a bottle. It is a non-traumatic way to firm, tighten, and replenish your skin with a lot of nutrients and a lot more circulation. And then the Hydrate Pure you put on after. Super nourishing. I like to tell people that my 90-year-old grandmas both ask me for it every couple of months. They go through it. They're obsessed. It's adorable. And then we have Body Therapy, which is our topical 1,000 milligram CBD salve, and it's phenomenal. I use it regularly on my feet, wherever you have aches and owies. It's going to make a huge difference potentially in your life in terms of mobility and function and all those things. And then we have a super yummy hemp-based salve. LeTa, is there anything else you want to add about the Body Therapy?
I mean, it's really for the muscles, right? So it's good for, releasing the tension in the muscles. It also is good for joint discomfort. So a lot of people that have overuse or aging, minor injuries and strains, but most of my people do it for a post-workout recovery, every once in a while, if I have like dry or irritated or damaged skin on my heels, I'll put some on. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot I like about this product. It's not oily. It doesn't smell too much like skunk. I mean, the botanicals are really smooth. I love the tin. So yeah, I mean, I put some on every day somewhere on my body. So love it. And people spend more on their pets than anything else, right? We love our 4-leggeds. I'm one to, to talk, but this is a very interesting formula. Okay, we did reformulate it, and it is really for pets that are in pain. Okay, how do you know they're in pain? You can tell. I mean, sometimes if they're bigger dogs, like a golden retriever, you got to look at their hips, right? Their mobility. I have like access to a lot of different pets in my practice here. So, you know, whether they're emotional distress, not just on fireworks, they're skittish, skin issues, with the wind, you know, the dryness. There's a lot of dogs and cats having skin issues now. Of course, it does some other things, you know, immune system and blood sugar stabilization. But I would say mainly most of my people are taking this for understanding that it's really good as a supplement, because all of our pets, just like us, need the cannabinoids. Okay. That, you know, that's the best thing I could say about that. And we just have a couple more. Actually, we just have the 180 and then we'll go into NO. So do you want to talk about the 180?
Sure. I feel silly talking when we have you here because you're on the medical advisory board and I just love hearing from you and learning, but I can absolutely talk about it and you can chime in if you want to.
Okay.
The 180 is a full metabolic reset and detoxification system. Women, it's a month-long protocol, and then you have 3 days of transition, and then you have 6 weeks of learning to maintain that new body that you have. So women on average lose 15 to 25 pounds, men on average lose 20 to 30, and there's ranges in there. I'm a petite 5'2" woman. I lost 12 pounds the last time I did it. So not everyone's going to be in that bracket depending on your body, but what this is doing is it's preserving your muscle mass and it is targeting abnormally stored fat. And so these supplements go in and we biohack the body to just start dumping excessive fat, abnormally stored fat, the fats that are around the organs and the arteries, the visceral fat, and people's bodies completely transform. It is unbelievable. There's one man who did the program, Paul. This was a long time ago. We need the updated photo because he has legit lost over 100 pounds now doing multiple rounds of this and changing his life. Like, he looks like a tiny little muscular dude that he's at the same weight he was at in high school. That's what we hear all the time. I'm at the same weight I was in high school, in college, when I got married. And it's not about the weight. Really, it's about moving out the inflammation, letting the body to detoxify, letting the body heal from its inflamed state. And so it's just so cool to get to do this ourselves. Some people are using it like Paul is, back to back, to lose something like 100 pounds. Other people like LeTa and myself are doing it seasonally to give the body an opportunity to detox. LeTa, I don't know if you want to add anything.
You know, I've also seen it be a reset emotionally and mentally and spiritually, not just physically, you know, because, you know, memories are in the cell. We know about cellular memory, right? We know that emotions are stored in the blood. You know, we know all of these things. And so what happens is that, you know, you have this time, you have this place and space and time, these 30 days to focus on yourself. And every time that someone focuses on themselves for 30 days, you're going to transform. It's an intention and it's an attention and it's a community. On top of the vibrational homeopathy products we have, you know, the nutritional support. So again, it's not for everybody. There's a timing aspect of it. But if you know someone that's really needing a new chapter, right? You know, as much as we think exercise is going to burn fat, we know it's about starting your relationship with food, to cultivate a sustainable relationship with Mother Earth and feeling nourished by what we're doing. And so it's a recalibration. It's an amazing program. And so, you know, again, you know, this conversation that Dara and I are having every month, this is the first one, is going to be highlighting a certain aspect of a major issue that most of us are dealing with. So we're not going to be talking necessarily today about, you know, fat loss or resetting, but just know that, you know, any of these products are really designed very specifically to help support a pain point that people are having. All right. So here we are. We decided it's the month of February. We're talking about heart health for a lot of different reasons. And I want to say heart plus because, you know, what we're talking about with nitric oxide is a lot more than that. And so, you know, this is going to be a conversation. You know, Dara, please chime in anytime you want. I'll go ahead and start. Anytime that you want to just say something, just pop in. But what I want you guys to realize is that the stats around cardiovascular disease is too ridiculous. Okay, 1 in 4 people, and in fact, this might even be an old number. Okay, we know it's the #1 killer in both men and women worldwide. Okay, so when you look at different cultures, different food habits, and why Why is this happening? Well, in 1998, if you don't know about the endocannabinoid system and you're not sure of when CBD was discovered, right? It was late. Okay, so we didn't learn about this until, most people until the late 90s. Okay, very similar with nitric oxide. 1998 is when these three gentlemen won the Nobel Peace Prize. So this is why your MDs, your primary care doctors, do not know about the conversation of nitric oxide, and why we are taking it upon ourselves to empower you so you can understand that this is a very important thing to understand and know. So yeah, glad you're here. All right, so one of the pioneers of nitric oxide is Dr. Nathan S. Bryan. Okay, so amazing gentleman, and he really believes and knows that the reason cardiovascular disease is the number one killer is because of loss of nitric oxide prevention or production. So what do we have to do? What do we need to know? We know that every single chronic disease is characterized by decreased blood flow. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, so if you're having decreased blood flow, the question is, well, how do I get it going, right? That's pretty simple. Well, nitric oxide is required for every red blood cell to deliver oxygen from the lungs to the tissue. Now, the reason I'm actually keeping this slide in, normally my nitric oxide presentation is an hour and a half long with like 60 slides, but I'm selecting very few slides for me to get a point across to you tonight that with people that experienced COVID, okay, you have to understand that if you start looking at the autopsies of the cardiologists in Europe, their findings that came out on January 11th, it was that COVID targeted endothelial cells. This is why people that have a hard time exercising after, what it's affecting the lungs, right? So because they need nitric oxide. So there's that whole interesting thing now about, even more importantly, people need nitric oxide. So again, I don't want to delve too much into the science, but really interesting information to read from coming out of Europe. So nitric oxide, it plays a role in, I swear, almost every function. Okay, you're looking at cardiovascular, which peripheral, right? Can't get the blood flow to the extremities, right? We're looking at the respiratory tract, which I just mentioned. So again, it is really important how much you need it. Now, the question is, well, how do I know if I'm deficient? Well, you can buy very inexpensively the nitric oxide strips. There's saliva, that you can read the instructions on the bottle to be testing if you have nitric oxide deficiency. But I'll tell you, anybody who is aging, anybody over the age of 40, circulation issues like Raynaud's, right? With the cold hands and feet, people with low energy, diabetics, antacids, people that actually do mouthwash even sometimes do not produce nitric oxide. So anyone, of course, with a diagnosis of poor vascular dysfunction. So a lot of people, but also, just like, oh yeah, go ahead.
Doesn't hand sanitizer, in addition to mouthwash, destroy the body's ability or our levels of nitric oxide? I want to say that because a lot of people have been really hunkering down with that hand sanitizer the last 2 years. And that affects
it's horrible. Too much. Well, and just like CoQ10, you start to decline at age 40, right? So it's a little bit different with nitric oxide, it's like 30 to 40, but same with CoQ10, right? You start depleting and not making enough. Very similar with the production of nitric oxide. So the question is, how much do we need, right? Well, we're looking at 300 to 400 milligrams, right? But this is the thing, is you do get some from food, right? So you get about maybe less than half, but most of all, absolutely in the world, we're nitrate deficient population. Now, this is the thing, anytime I educate people, they say, okay, well, all right, I understand. I see the science. There's proof. I'm low. How do I eat better? How do I buy a product? What do I look for? Okay, so this is what we do here at Prime My Body. We want to educate you on what to look for. We look at delivery system. One of the reasons why our extracts have the delivery system and the technology is because we know that a lot of people don't have good digestion, absorption, assimilation. Cannabis is expensive. So we're like, no. We're going to have it absorbed through the oral mucosa to go right into the brain, so we don't have to rely on the stomach. So again, everything that we do is very intentful. I want you to understand that, very purposeful. So when you are looking at a technology, okay, so I'm going off of the pioneers, the doctors that understand nitric oxide, understand the technology, and we also have to understand there's marketing, okay? So Beets, right? Yeah, they're great, but they do not equal nitrate. All beets are not created equal, and nitrate does not equal nitric oxide. Okay. So again, it's going to be a little bit different in each person. So what do you look for? So this is what's amazing about Paul Rogers, the CEO of Prime My Body, and the whole team, is that we are not, we're about long-term relationships. Okay. We're not about a quick sale. We want to create something that really works, that changes lives here. Okay. So what did we do? We worked with the right people to figure out the right technology, because with nitric oxide, you have to use it within 1 to 2 minutes. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Okay. There's a very specific technique to getting the supplement in the body to actually make it work. And that's what we did with Core. Okay. So this is our flagship product with nitric oxide. And the reason this is different is because, number one, first of all, it's the only nitric oxide product in the world that has the cannabinoids in it. Okay. And there's a real synergy to this. So not only did we work with the medical team to create a product that actually gets in the system and does what it needs to do, because if you haven't taken it, you will really feel the results. However, and again, I want to pass this off to you, Dara, in just a second to talk about what it's good for and stuff such. But I'll tell you, the cannabinoids with the hemp, it's like I'm with the nitric oxide, it's like a carrier, okay? Because you don't make cannabinoids and because you're not making nitric oxide, this synergy with the CoQ10 is like the trilogy of giving your body everything it needs that it makes. It's like this spiritual remembrance of, oh, this is actually how I'm supposed to feel. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm turned on. I'm lit up. I have energy. And when I say turned on, I'm talking about turned on, meaning excited, right? In Chinese medicine, we say, oh my God, I want to be excited about life. When you fall in love, it's like you're excited, you're turned on, there's sexual energy. Sexual energy is pure creation energy, right? So what do you want to create in the world? This does actually help with your sensual life, your sexual life. I'm being excited, but it's also, of course, from my slides, you can tell it's critical for heart health, because we're talking about heart health for the month of February, and getting the blood flow, getting that viscous, that nutrient-rich blood flow with the oxygen to all the places in the body that needs it. So yeah, pass it to you, Dara. I think just talked a bunch, but hopefully that makes sense.
It
Right?
totally made sense. And it was
Okay.
such incredible information. And you are just so wise and so brilliant. And I appreciate you so much sharing your understanding of the body and all your knowledge with us. So thank you so much. And I think if people were just going to use the core for longevity, for regenerative properties, for cardiovascular health, that would be enough, right? That is like 100% yes with the cannabinoids in there. But then when we talk about our libido and the ways that improving our circulation improve our experience of intimacy, that's huge. When we talk about exercise and athleticism and pre-workout, people love this pre-workout. It gets all that blood flowing. It helps you feel more alive. I noticed that. I remember the first time that I took it, and it was like everything got brighter. What LeTa was just describing, everything was brighter. I live up at 7,500 feet. I live at a high elevation. We have a lot less oxygen here. When my parents come to visit from sea level, I give this to them right away. My dad used to always need like the little oxygen boosters, and he doesn't use that really at all now that we have the core. They both feel more energized. They used to have to take naps every day when they would come to visit because they would just feel the wipeout from the elevation. They don't feel that way anymore. So it's been really cool to watch it with people that I love. For myself, I'm someone, I've never been diagnosed with Raynaud's, but I have low thyroid. So I am someone who's always had cold hands and feet. And it is absolutely notable how much warmer my hands and feet are. And it's winter now. And I'm so grateful for that. So that's been something really cool that I've noticed. I've also noticed a better, my female cycles are a lot easier and a lot better. And I know that's because the blood is flowing properly everywhere, including the uterus. So it's just so cool to see all the different ways that this affects us and can benefit our bodies. I love the direction that LeTa went in when she was sharing about the 180 process and how all the mental, emotional relationships that we have to food through the ways that we grew up, through our ancestors, right? When we were an egg inside of our mothers, we lived inside of our grandmothers when our moms were a fetus inside our grandma. And so the maternal lineage, especially that we have, we're unraveling that. And there's been a lot that's happened of trauma and fear and migrations and all these things that absolutely affected the food supply. So it's like, we're all here at this time, I really feel, to heal our lineages and to become like the greatest expression of our ancestors possible. And I really feel like that's what we're doing here in this community around these products, is helping ourselves, helping each other become the brightest and the best and the most joyful and the most youthful and the most free in our bodies and our minds and our spirits and our emotions that we possibly can be. And all these products and the endocannabinoid system, they give us that gift. And so it really is about beginning with us, right? We can want other people to change, and then when we start to change ourselves, that starts to ripple out when we become happier, when we live with more grace within our body. All these things I think are so important, and especially the 180 is like a pathway for people to fall in love with themselves again, right? Because we start clearing away all the things that have made us feel unlovable, and we return back to love. And I guess I'm going to close it there because we're in the month of love and the heart. So I'm going to pass it back to you, LeTa, if you want to add anything.
Oh, well, I just want to say that, I can't stress enough that we are here to educate and empower, and really continue to, educate ourselves on what's important. We know that it's a complicated and busy time, but we have, made the commitment to take the time to really discern what is best. And I can't stress it enough. This is about being a part of a community where health is a lifestyle, where we're all interested in learning, the places that we can continue to support and nourish and love up on each other. That's what we need. Everything is an act of love. So when you are taking your supplements, when you're, whatever it is that you're doing, brushing your teeth, just remind yourself, because that's what you're depositing into the ethers, and we need people, especially the people that are drawn to being part of this revolution, this mission that we have with Prime, this extended family. It's about, this is a safe space for me to just be myself, learn what I need to know, so then I can go out there and just be that bright light for people in such a dark place that people are at. So, and again, when people are open to it, we just hold space for people. I don't know about you, but after being here for 5 years, there are people that come 3-4 years ago that I've talked to that now are ready. And so what we're doing is just continuing to educate, continue to love up on people. We're not going anywhere. And we're just so glad that you came out tonight. Dara and I are so excited about doing this series. We're doing it every month. We're going to pick a new topic that whatever we feel is weighing on people. Maybe we'll pick anxiety, depression next time, but just, allowing us to kind of delve deeper maybe in more of these hot topics that, again, that's a pain point for people.
Dr. LeTa, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing all your wisdom. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We look forward to being with you in a month. And if you have questions or topics that you want covered, let us know. We can always try to do some lives on Facebook or Instagram as well. So if you have specific things that you have questions about, like I know certain people had questions about what makes the nitric oxide more special with the CBD. And so I specifically asked LeTa to cover that. So yeah, share with us or whoever invited you here your questions that you have, and we will do our best to highlight them in the times to come. Thanks everybody so much. Have a beautiful evening.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.